So basically you can...
Okay, I'm lost. You need
Okay,
to unpack that for
okay.
me.
So when I say busy with the things of God, you are doing everything that is required of you, but then you are not with the God of the things.
The God of the things.
Yes.
You're just doing the things of God.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Lesego Mofokeng. Be welcomed, magnified mamas. Let's connect, cultivate, and create. Hello, welcome all our magnified mamas. We are ready for yet another episode. We are cultivating, connecting, and creating here on this channel. Today, I've got our esteemed guest. So I call her Deaconess Chomi. Her name is Terry Ann. She's gonna tell us a little bit about herself. We're gonna chill, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna converse, we're gonna have fun. So this is her, yay! And our third episode of Mama Magnified. This is Terry Ann. Tell us, who is this baby girl? Who is she?
The start of I am Terry Ann Oliphant. Jesus girl. I'm a teacher by profession. I'm a Sunday school teacher. I'm an aunt to Mama Magnified.
Did you aunt to Mama
Yes.
Magnified?
I don't have kids of my own yet.
Yet.
I am a 8 to 3 mother.
Okay.
Monday to Friday. And on a Sunday, I am a 10 to 1 mother.
10 to 1 mother.
Yes.
So 8 to 3 during the week, 10 to 1 on weekends.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday,
Okay,
yes.
okay,
Yes.
okay. So do you want to tell the people how we met, or should I tell them my side of the story, your side of the story? You heard she said she's a Jesus girl, ne? So the reason why I call her Deaconess Chomi, because I serve under her leadership at church. I met her at our local church, House of Treasures. You guys know that I'm a Sunday school teacher. You'll find me anywhere where the kids are. So she is our leader at Sunday school, but she's now like Jesus girl. I call her my Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego all in one. And I think that's why I decided to have her here today. You guys know I've always shared that, Mama Magnified is not limited to people who are moms. A mom is a woman, and the magnified part for a woman comes in so many different ways. And the big anchor for Mama Magnified is, being anchored in God. That's our compass. That's the way in which we do everything here. So that's why I call her Deaconess Chomi. We call her Terry Ann whenever. And we are Jesus girls. So we're just going to unpack and find out, who is she? What does being a Jesus girl mean? How has she experienced God? And I also just wanted to share a little bit on her journey of being a young person serving in church, really with her everything, her entire being as a young person. I look up to her so much in that regard. She looks up to me like on the being a biological mom. She mothers my kids, but she also helps me on that other part as well. There's that saying that says iron. Does it say iron sharpens iron?
Yes, iron sharpens iron.
What does it actually mean? It's relevant in this context,
It is.
Yeah.
It simply means that we draw from each other. We fill up each other's cup. So I'm going to start off how I met you. So
yes.
My journey with the founder of Mama Magnified, which is the beautiful Esiho, started at Sunday school. By then, you were not a Sunday school teacher.
Okay.
So
Really?
I don't know if you were still testing the church, but you brought your boy to Sunday school.
Yeah.
But what stood out from me, what our encounter, is the fact that from day one, you have been so intentional. You get moms that drop off their kids at Sunday school and they go. With you got there, you wanted to know who I am. You wanted to see what we are doing. And I was like, she's so intentional, this one. And eventually, I think my relationship started with your son first.
Yeah, as with most people, yeah.
Yes. So Kanye has been my boy. I don't even know how you started joining Sunday school. But I know our interaction started you just being a Sunday school
Because
mom.
remember when he started, he was still in the baby class.
Yes.
And I was so stressed about, is he gonna adjust? Is he gonna, and then I think after the first few times, he kept mentioning your name as well. He said, how are you comfortable? No, Teacher Terry was there. And if he doesn't see you, he'd ask,
Yes.
where's Teacher Terry? Where's Teacher Terry? Yeah. But how did we become close then? I don't know. But we're here.
I don't know.
She's the aunt of Mama Magnified. Yeah, but I think on my side, it really is that realizing also that the passion for children, we share a common passion for children outside of being a biological mother. And I always tap into the well of grace of, again, you being a leader at church as well. So, yeah, do you want to share about where were you born, your upbringing, how did this passion come about? How did you meet Jesus? When did this decision come to be like, okay, I'm doing this? Tell us
doing
more.
this
Tell
one
us
for
more.
Jesus. So Terry Ann is a girl from Iran Park, a small township in the East Rand. Went to Iran Park Primary. Initially, all I wanted to be was a social worker with my whole heart. I was so
Really?
determined. I'm gonna be a social worker. And then teaching chose me. I started psychology, ended up doing teaching, started working.
So wait, you also majored in psychology?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. I did too, but it was by default because I did a BSc and then I did a BSc human physiology. But then human physiology was my first major.
Yes.
But then I didn't want to take biochemistry as a second major because it was like hard.
Yes.
When I look back now, it wasn't hard. You know, when you still want to not like put in all your effort in something. And then I took psychology thinking it's like a major from the, what's that faculty? BA is faculty of? Humanities. Yes.
Humanities.
But then I ended up enjoying it. So yeah, sorry, I just stabbed you.
Okay. But with me, initially I wanted to study social working. And then I think my year in matric, I didn't apply on time or something. One or the other thing happened. End up being at home just after matric for a year. And then went to varsity the following year. And you know when you are done with matric and everyone is doing something.
Yeah.
And then you're at home. I remember I got a job it was a call center job. And then went for interviews, did induction. When I was supposed to start, my mom was like, you are not going. Like, what do you mean I am not going? She's like, you are going to school next year. You are not going. The Monday morning, I woke up getting ready to go to my job. And my mom said, if you leave this place, please don't come back.
I said what I said.
Please don't come back. If those people employ you, they must take you forever.
Then they are your mother.
They are your mother. But looking back at it now, I am so grateful for the mother I had. Knowing myself, if I started working that year, I would have not went to school.
That's what I wanted to say, because for most people, even the danger of taking a gap year becomes difficult to go back into school.
Yes.
So although some people say take a gap year, work, and then you'll come back.
Yes.
The transition back is not always an easy one. Because remember, you're going to start working, you're 18, maybe 19, or some people start at school early. You have a salary at that young age. Now you're happening. You got
Imagine
money
giving up your salary to be a
to
student.
go back to school. You know,
No,
so our
it's not
elders
gonna work
are
out.
wise. They know what they mean when they give us guidance.
But even with my gap year, it only made sense a few years afterwards that God has been so intentional about everything. I took a gap year. The year after my gap year, I moved to Northwest where I studied. And that year, my mom passed away.
True.
But back then, it didn't make sense. But during my gap year, I had so much time to spend with my mother.
Really?
I had so much time to serve in my childhood church. That's where Sunday school started. I had more time. I was flexible. I think my journey with God actually started my year intentionally. So I've always been in church, grew up in church. My mother is a believer, always been around the things of God. I sometimes wonder, was I around the things of God or with the God of the things? But that's a story for another
Sure.
day.
Wait. Say that again.
Around the God of the things or the God of the things. So basically you can...
Okay, I'm lost. You need to unpack that for me.
So when I say busy with the things of God, you are doing everything that is required of you, but then you are not with the God of the things.
The God of the things.
Yes.
You're just doing the things of God.
Yes. Because God really just wants us to have a personal relationship with
Your
Him.
heart.
You can only lean on your mother's revelation of who God is for so long.
Sure.
You can only love God to the extent that whoever told you how to love Him, up until you come to a full realization of who He is. Up until He becomes your first love.
Sure. Okay. So I think for me, when you're talking about that, obviously I'm going to take it as a mother for my sons, but I also look at my younger self, right? My granny, my mom were born and bred in like Methodist. I saw them go to church, but I don't think we had the experience or the impartation.
Yes.
You can see that Sunday we're going and stuff, but we just knew that, okay, God is our all and we pray to God, but to teach the actual relationship thing didn't really come easy. But then with my granny, my paternal granny, when we started being close to that side of the family, she was one of those, the house is locked up on Sunday.
Yes,
There is
ma'am.
nobody in the house. Listen, angry or not, we're going to church with that angry face.
Yes.
But although my parents did take us to Catholic school, so that helped a lot. And that's where we started seeing the importance of actual fellowship from a young age as well.
I also think our exposure to God is really in our homes. We see our mothers do it. We see our mothers serve. We see people in our community serve. But it is not the same up until you now have a relationship with God yourself. You can do all these other things. You can go to church religiously. You can serve religiously. But up until you come to a realization, but I have this void within me.
Yeah.
I can party it away.
Yeah.
I can drink it away.
Drink it away.
I can shop it away. Up until Jesus comes and fills that gap, and you're like, oh, I've been missing out on a lot.
And you see, when you talk about the I can't party away, I can't drink it away, it's also part of the conversations I want us to have, even when we have the Mama Magnified events, you know. That's why I call it the in-between moments.
Yes.
Because we often see or package the prim and proper.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And no one talks about how you got there. And even the prim and proper, you're not perfect. It's a work in progress.
Yes.
I always make the example of even like in church on Sundays when we're all looking good and we're at church, but we're all just we're journeying with God. We're broken in whichever way, but we don't talk about those things. We talk about the, you know,
exactly.
And I find that that's why we will always have a long way to go as women, or there's a gap of holding each other's hands, fixing each other's crowns in that regard of having the in-between moments. And that's part of why Mama Magnified, as an empath, me, a person who feels so deeply for other people, I thought, no man, something has to give. Something has to give. The transition of, you know, for some of us, even the walk with God wasn't always, even though you grew up in like a church-based, God-based family, it wasn't always, I got this. You never knew this God, although you were taught this God. We were still in varsity, drinking, dating, having sex before marriage. I often also share, even with me being married to Mpo, that we also went through our own journey of, we stayed together before we were married. We had Kani before we were married. But the story I could choose to tell is, I'm married now and it's like, it looks good.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? But that doesn't help someone who walked the footsteps of when we didn't do it right. And if we don't help those in-between moments, how are we helping others as well?
Exactly. And on that topic, I am of the view that once you are convicted about something, once you have the revelation about something, you can make better choices. But if nobody ever told you that, but you can't have sex before marriage, and some of our churches in our community do not teach us these things. We see, okay, but this one stays with this guy, and it's becoming a norm.
Yeah, no one's rebuking it.
Yeah, it's becoming a norm. So up until we get conviction, up until we get the revelation of the truth, that's where we can make better decisions. So we should actually open up and talk about these things.
And I mean, you just mentioned how until the conviction comes, you won't be able to make better choices,
Yes.
right? And the conversations need to happen in our churches, in our homes, in our communities. We also don't know what being single, purposefully single, if I can put it like that, waiting on God. Now that I have the knowledge, now that I have a closer relationship to God, now that I understand His word and what He convicts me to do, now that the light, from dark to light, now that I
Yes.
know, what does that look like for someone who is as young as you, probably do want to get married? Because we also understand that it's not everyone's desire to get married. But let's say
Yes.
you do, you now have the word. How do you then live upright while you're waiting on God? Guys, where do you start? Honestly,
Yes.
for you, not that your way is the way. What does that look like for you, and what was your journey in that?
I would use something that Pastor KJ normally says. He says, focus on Jesus and don't get distracted. In the midst of everything else, I think, for me personally speaking, I have found so much purpose in serving. I have found so much purpose in my journey with God that, yes, I do desire to get married. But even if I don't get married, it's okay. It is really okay.
Really?
It is okay. If it's the will of God for me to get married, amen. Hallelujah. If it's not, then it's still okay.
But will it not be painful though, or sad? Or you past that point?
No, I think I have passed that point.
Okay.
I am of the view that marriage is a ministry on its own. And not everyone is called to ministry. So if I am not called to be a wife, then it's okay.
Yeah. You also can't orchestrate a calling or a ministry upon yourself. It's
Exactly.
You can't create it or fabricate it or pull it towards you like
Exactly.
abracadabra type of-
Exactly.
just like with anything from God anyway.
And even biblically speaking, the word of God says, he that finds a wife. It's not she that finds a husband.
Yeah. Guys, literally, we mustn't find them.
No.
The gentleman must find us.
No. So in that part, I have fully surrendered to God. It is God's will, God's way, or no way at all.
Okay, so you when we rewind a bit, you said, I know Pastor KG said that just focus on Jesus,
Yes, and don't get distracted.
right? That's fine. So, I'm a practical person. I know you're not giving us pointers, but what does that look like on a day-to-day? You know how Apostle also shared in his short single journey how he would when he's preaching, he's still looking in the crowd. And I like that. I like how real that is, right? And that's what I'm asking you now to say, okay, you're focusing on Jesus. You're not getting distracted. But on your day-to-day, when a guy's asking you out, what do you do? When does it ever cross your mind when you go home to your very comfortable home where you're staying alone? Ooh, what does that look like? The in-between moments. I get the bigger picture.
Yes.
But practically, truthfully, how do you navigate all of those things of still living?
I think all of it is a journey. I remember when I was staying at home, my sole purpose or my goal was, you know what, girl, work very hard, go to school. I did my honors while I was still working.
Educated Jesus girl.
Yes, ma'am. I have a circle of friends. We were always busy. There was always one or the other thing, one or the other events that we had to attend. I had a boyfriend though.
Okay.
Relationship didn't last probably.
This is in varsity.
This is in varsity, and then after varsity again. Okay,
When you're
relationship.
working,
Yes,
okay.
relationship did not last, and I've always been busy.
Okay.
I've
It's
always
just been a youth.
Yes, it's always
Okay.
been, I have always been busy. Yes, sometimes when you see people thriving in relationships, you will be like, but I also want a boyfriend. I also want matching
to be
outfits.
busy with, right?
You know, I also want matching outfits and all that.
To a wedding.
You know, but then as you grow, as you journey, you now get to the point where it's not about looking cute together.
Yeah.
It's not about the cute pictures.
No. Definitely.
Like your expectations change,
Yeah.
and when your expectations change, you know that this thing is not in your hands though.
Yeah.
You have to surrender.
The realization
Yeah,
comes
you-
that this is not about me.
Yeah, it's not about me. It's not about me. You have to surrender. Be like, you know what, God, if it's your will, it's your will. If it's not your will, it is still okay. What helps me thriving and being purposefully single is I am busy.
True.
I am not lonely.
But also, you're not busy with fluff.
No.
Can we just? Because you know, sometimes you get, and I always often say this to. There's this one friend of mine, and I say, your friend, like if we're catching up on the phone, oh friend, you know, it's been hectic. It's work, it's church, it's whatever. And then I also say, but I feel so grateful that we are busy with blessings. Like at the end of the day, I can
Yes.
see that. Okay,
Yes.
it's it's not. Sometimes you're busy, and then you're like, what am I doing with my time?
Exactly.
That's dangerous. So you're not just busy. Gee.
Yes. It's like the conversations that we'll normally have about finding a balance.
Yes. Yeah.
We always make emphasis on finding a balance.
Yeah.
So in between church, you have family,
Yeah.
you have your job, where we also go out the extra mile. We serve in our communities. I recently joined the soup kitchen. So I am really...
Guys, this girl is the blueprint of like a young on fire for Jesus girl. And I'm saying that from myself because there's so many things that when I look back, especially if it's someone, even if it's not necessarily younger than me, I made the example with my niece. She's 16 and she's there at youth at House of Treasures. Guys, the way those children pray, the way those children fellowship, the way those children are on fire for Jesus. And I'm like, why wasn't like...
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, why wasn't so even with like someone like yourself, when I think too, when I was, in the phase or season you were in, I'm like, surely I could have been on fire for Jesus like this. Because for a long time, I dated a couple of people before I got married, and I was the other way around, where I was just like, I wanted this marriage and being a mother so bad. I've always known that it's something that God will bless me with, and it's something that I've always known I'll be, not only will it fulfill me, I knew it will be one of my places of servitude for my life, right?
Yes.
But I think I made it about me, like you're saying. I made like I was on a hunt, and guys, frogs, you will kiss frogs.
He that finds a wife,
Yes.
not she that finds a husband.
Can you please repeat that?
Please, he that finds a wife, not she that finds a husband.
Guys, stop it.
Yes.
So so that's what I was saying. Even with that, that's why I look back to be like, yo, so on fire for Jesus at this age, So the being busy part is, I always make an example with you, and I'm just like, yo, serving in every. This girl is an asset to her community. Firstly, in her family, and you remind me of my older sister, by the way. In her family, in her community, and I believe I'm mentioning mainly communities because I sometimes have those moments if I go home and then maybe like I get sent to the Spaza or the local Pick and Pay, and then you bump into people we grew up with and they're not in a good shape, in a good state, and then you just like, no man, that's not okay.
Exactly.
It's not something that makes you feel like, ooh, you're happening because you got your car keys in your hand, you're in your local Pick and Pay just to buy whatever, and you're going back into the burbs. It's always just been a thing of, surely there's a void here, something's wrong. And you've proactively said, okay, one brick at a time for my community.
Yes.
Can you share a bit on that? Because we can learn.
It boils back to when you say yes to Jesus, you need to say yes to a lot of things. And it happens so gradually. Sometimes I ask myself, how did we get here? Because literally all I did, I went to church, I started serving in church, Sunday school, started serving in Sunday school, started serving in other departments. As I said earlier on, it's about being willing and available. And if God can use you in, it might sound as little as going to go and dish up at the soup kitchen. It's still serving God. It's still serving God. Everything that we do is serving God. And sometimes God just wants usefulness within us. Can God use you? Can God spend you? And I do not have an excuse. I do not have an excuse.
But who has an excuse?
To be spent by God. Sometimes for you moms, like my heart goes out for mothers. I sometimes feel you don't even pray for yourself because there's so many other prayer points, other factors. You need to cover your husband. You need to cover your kids. You need to cover your family. There is so much going on for you.
Yeah.
Whereas I can get up tomorrow, go to church, come back from church. The only person that I'm responsible for is myself.
True. However, I also firmly believe in serving, and this is how I take it, right? You spoke about the difference between knowing of God and having a personal relationship with Him. Like knowing Him, to say, now this is the reason why I say God is alive and I've experienced Him in this way. Similarly, I don't believe anybody should have an excuse. And I'm saying this because how I took it is I serve within my capacity.
Yes.
But God is not looking at the capacity. He's looking at your heart while you're doing it.
Yes.
You see. So yes, I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a career woman. And also, firstly, before all of things, I'm self to self.
Yes.
That's why you must be a magnified mama before you're a wife, you're a mom, you're a Jesus girl, you're a what, right? Actually, Jesus girl first, then the rest will follow. But I'm deviating. My point then is, I then took it upon myself to say, I do have capacity. It may not be at your level.
Exactly.
Sometimes it may not even be at someone like my sister's level. She's married, she's got a child, but she's a leader in church like you. So what's expected of you is not like that of where I am. And it's similar even in corporate, where you may find yourself wanting to be given more responsibilities and you don't have more capacity. Once you do have more responsibilities, you are expected of more. But I believe that we can find ways. You mentioned even like serving God is serving humanity. It's not formally in church.
Exactly.
It's in whoever you've bumped into who doesn't have a loaf of bread. It's calling up a friend. I mean, I think it was last week Apostle was touching on that. It's being there for someone. So I don't think we should restrict ourselves. And I'm again saying this to myself because it's now my first full year at House of Treasures. And I find myself in 3 departments. How, Mutase? How did I get there?
Capacity, enlargement.
He enlarges it.
Yes.
But you need
willingness, just to be willing. I think when it comes to God, God is not looking for the smartest. God is not looking for the bravest. God is just looking for people who are willing
and available. You said that at the same time.
Available. So on the availability, I'm getting back to the point where I said I do not have an excuse.
Okay, I get you. Like time-wise,
okay. I don't have an excuse.
And the fact that you have more time doesn't mean that you are more willing than someone who has less time.
Exactly.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So we're not making the point of you saying you've got more time, hence God is giving you a gold star and the other one's getting a silver star.
Not even. And also, I believe, especially when it comes to our church, for one to be your best, you need to literally connect with the vision and align. So that's also a posture of heart. where is your heart in all this? Are you for the vision? Are you not with the vision?
Doesn't that go even anyway, even in corporates or even
does.
in the school you serve? You need to submit to, or firstly agree when you join the organization to say, they'll tell you this, these are our values, these are our missions, this is how we do things here.
Yes.
And if you're not aligned with those, and maybe because you want, let's say, a job and you sign and you go for it, that's where you find yourself in very uncomfortable places where you're doing things this way and they do things this way. And then it's all because you were never aligned with the core vision of the organization.
Exactly.
And I think even church is the same as well, where find yourself a spiritual home that will nurture your relationship with God so much. Okay, so I'm saying this again for me because, guys, House of Treasures in a year. I'm not marketing House of Treasures. Find that spiritual home for yourself. But I've seen what it can do for you.
Submit. The same way we submit at church is the same way that we need to submit at our workplaces.
You know, one thing I like that Pastor Casey said the other day, and I was like, yo, pastors don't tell us this often. He said, when you are at work and it's time to work.
Work, yes.
And be efficient and kill it at work.
Yes.
And then when it's time to pray and kill it when it's time to pray. He says,
work
okay,
hard
fine.
and pray
During
hard.
work hard, pray hard.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Work hard,
That's
pray
how he
hard.
puts it.
And in general, it's just about making an impact. You can't go to work every day just for the sake of going to work every day. You have this small voice within you, your guilty conscience, that will tell you, but baby girl, today you did not deliver. You did not serve. Who did you serve today?
Let's check box today. What happened today?
Exactly. And the same with Sunday school. You can be as prepared as you want to be, but this small voice will tell you back like, today you did not deliver. Check your spirit, my love. Check your heart. Are we still here because we want to be here? Our hearts are connected to this thing, or we are here because nobody else can do it if you are not there.
Also, that's not a good thing.
Yes.
I always say, even with Mama Magnified, it's not a me thing.
Yes.
This thing should be able to stand even when I am not there.
Yes.
It must, I believe that's also what good leaders do in any organization. Equip your people or those who come before you. Is it before you or after you? Behind you?
After you, yes.
Yes, so that it can still stand firmly even when you're not. So that it's sustainable, it's solid.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So even in your serving, also don't feel like you've arrived.
No.
Like, don't be that person who, if I'm not there, God can see those things, eh?
He does.
He
does.
It really becomes and I think this, again, I'm going to say this is one of my, I don't know, when a guy asks a girl out, what's that thing you love about that girl? That's what I love about you. It really, really is that thing of the way you're so willing and intentional. Like, you can't help it. You're like, I'm just like, Terry, can you rest? You're like, friend, I'll rest in heaven. I'm like, actually, you're right. We'll rest in heaven.
My gosh.
You know, it's you, you know, and
like I don't know who I was talking to the other day, and I told the person, but this is all I know. I have tried everything else. I have tried being in the world. Yeah. And being in the world, I was intentional. I was the girl that will buy the tickets for the event. I was
so wait, so you are just an intentional.
Yeah, I was intentional. If there's a gig, we are going. I'll buy the tickets.
We're going. The tickets are here, guys.
Yes.
Get ready.
If we need to go on holiday, I am the planner.
It's your trait. It's who you are as well.
So even with being a Jesus girl, I am intentional about it.
Okay.
I'm very intentional about it, to the extent that certain conversations I'm not going to have. Certain people I'm going to avoid. Certain places I'm going to avoid now.
And that's from a conviction end, so it's not hard. It's like, even if it's hard, it's like, I got to do this. Tough cookies.
When we were in the world, we didn't take a break, so why must we take a break on Jesus?
When we were in the world, we didn't take a break. Why must we take a break on Jesus?
There's no breaks. There's no breaks, guys. We will rest in heaven.
Sure. Okay. So
we
maybe
go hard for Jesus the same way we went hard for all the other things that was in competition with Jesus. We've tried it and we've failed.
And we have tried it. Okay, we're speaking for ourselves.
Yeah, we have tried.
It's
We have tried to
true.
fill the void.
Yes.
We
You
have-
can't drink it away.
No.
You can't party it away.
No.
You can't date it away.
No, man.
Even money can't even fill that void,
No,
friend.
no.
In our big age and we're working and we're comfortable financially, even that is just like, whatever.
Exactly.
It's not working as well.
And our coming to faith stories might not be as big as I was at my deathbed and I saw Jesus coming. No. Our coming to faith is a puzzle, building blocks. It's literally where you see, okay, but God has saved me from this. And then a puzzle is being formed. But God has healed me from this. A puzzle is being formed.
Yeah.
I had this wound today. I can talk about it. A puzzle is being filled. It's not one big hoo-ha story. It's those small things.
So your coming to God's story
Doesn't always necessarily have to be a big story.
like this magnificent.
No.
The light opened up from the sky type of, it's as simple. And I think you're right, that's also how I, in my biggish age, like past age 24, 25, when I really started being like, okay, it's really, honestly, I've been going to church Sunday, yes, I don't have this, you know. And my
Yes.
first point of reference was, okay, but like God, when we were growing up, this incident happened at home. Wait, God got us out of that, so He was there. Okay, so then when we lost our twin sister, it was so bad.
It is
Oh
a
my
puzzle.
word, look now we are. Then you're like, oh wait, okay, God, wait, okay, God, now I get it. Okay, let's start
Yes.
again. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yes.
it will be personal, but the theme will really be very common in the fact that if He knew us when we were formed in our mother's wombs, and we were birthed earthside physically,
Yes.
He's always been there. He's always waited for you. You know, why would you want to do life your own way when He gave you the life?
And He gives us freedom of choices. He gives us the freedom to either choose Him or choose to do the things on our own way. But eventually, all He wants is for us to just come back to Him. Just connect to the source again.
Connect to the source.
Like I said, we've tried and we failed, we crashed and we burned.
And you crash again, and you try again,
You
and
know,
you crash again.
You know, so when I say I'm a Jesus girl, don't think I've been a Jesus girl at the age of 13. Yes, I knew God. I knew the things of God. I might not have known Jesus for myself, but I knew about Him. I knew the importance about prayer. But my real first encounter with to know God for myself, to know Jesus for myself is in varsity. I think the year when I lost my mother. I was like, this thing of always saying, you know what, it's fine, I'll sleep. My mother at home is praying. So
Really?
she's
Would
no
you always
longer,
think that?
yeah, you know,
Yeah, like
I am covered.
I'm covered in prayer.
I am covered.
I know.
I am covered. And even growing up, I remember my mother always had this saying, because I was a bit restricted on doing what my peers were doing. And she was like, you are not going to go there. And I kept on asking, but why? And she's like, you are not like them. You are different. But I never actually asked her, what does different mean?
Yes, what does being different
And you know,
mean?
in our households, if your mom says no, it's no. You don't ask.
That's the full stop. The ink is
You don't
dry.
even ask for an explanation. What does different mean?
Explanation, no. So you
So,
never
yeah.
got that to understand.
You never
that.
got that. Hence, even when we experimented with all these other things, I never actually fit in. As much as I tried to.
So it was never
force-
really your.
No.
That's what Mama meant when she said you're different.
No, I try to force myself in situations, in places, force myself into relationships, but I've never fit in. I've never had an identity.
God is
where
just like looking at you.
be like, this one, what is she trying?
I'll protect her, but let me watch her. What is she doing?
This one.
Yeah.
Up until I got to Jesus, I'm like, but actually I'm a Jesus girl. This is me. This is where I belong.
So you rebranded.
This is where
if
I
I can even call it that.
This
And
is
you
where I
embraced
get
it
purpose.
as a young person.
Yes.
And I think really in as we're going up to like closing, this is really the crux of the light that I see in you. It's that embracing it at your young tender age, is that embracing it intentionally and unapologetically. So I think if you can like sum it up for us for young people, and I say young because the sooner we go to Jesus, guys, the better. You don't want to do it when your young latter years are gone and you're not as energetic and you have so many things to unlearn and undo.
Yes.
What can you share or impart, or what can you say to those young people who maybe didn't know Jesus from a young age, but they want to now say, okay, I want to try
Jesus for myself. The void, the empty space that you are so intentionally trying to forward all the other things, all the other voices that is competing with this one big voice. You need to silence them. All these other things that is giving you identity. Your relationships might give you an identity and it's not even it. Your friends might give you an identity and it's not it. Your identity can only be found in Christ Jesus. Try him. You have tried on your own. You have the wounds and it's okay, you are going to heal. But this time around, try Jesus. Just try him.
Yeah. Do you see why she's my Shadrach, Meshach, and
Just
Abednego
step out
in
and
one?
just try him.
Try him. Guys, did you hear that? We've tried it, the worldly way, the partying way, the relationships way. The void is not filled. Try it the Jesus way. She's a perfect example of what that looks like. Doing it as young as it is. She packages it very well. It looks very attractive, at least for me. You're still a fun person. You're still relevant. You still dress cute. You can still do your makeup. Like, you can still just feel good about yourself.
Yes.
We're not saying just be like dull in the corner. That is not who Jesus said we are. He said we are precious jewels also. So also find out who you are. Find out how God sees you. What does he say you are? And that will be your building block from there. That's how healing comes. You know, if you're broken, find out what he says about that. So, Magnified Mamas, this was another awesome. We need to get you back. We probably might have you back for other parts. But I absolutely love how relevant and practical you made it. But also just that connection of, you know, you're not prim and proper now and you're perfect.
Exactly.
It really was a journey, and you've walked a very similar relatable journey as well.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing a piece of your life. Thank you so much for being a Jesus girl and branding Jesus so well. We see you. We love it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And also from my side, there's this one verse that says, follow those who through faith and patience have obtained the promises of God. And this is where you are at. You are Mama Magnified. You are the brand. You are the intentional mother. You are the career woman. You are the wife. I always joke with you and be like, okay, so this Friday is date night. I'm not going to see you at church. So your life has formed this well balance. So me on the outside being single, inspiring to be a wife, inspiring to be a mother, to still have a career, to still be my husband's girlfriend. And I'm looking at you, I'm like, but Lisiga's doing all those things. So follow those. Hence I am here. I follow the page she invited me.
Exactly. Friend, but I love you so much.
I love you
too. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for having me.
Carry on walking in faith and being Jesus girls. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. Once again, take from this what you see fit. Pick up the pearls that are very relevant to you. Make it work for you, and keep being intentional about being a Jesus girl, and stay magnified. See you guys in our next episode.
Bye-bye from Auntie Magnified.
Auntie Mama Magnified.